What's going on? My name is Cole Connor. Today I want to talk about my complete self-tape setup for doing auditions in Los Angeles, California. Let's do it. What's going on? My name is Cole Connor. I'm an artist and entrepreneur, and I was put here to do two things: create and inspire. Thanks for being here. Let's get into it. Not long ago, I moved to Los Angeles to pursue music and acting. It took a second to get stabilized and settled, but 2023 has been the year I've been able to truly focus on acting. In that, I've been researching how to do the best self-tapes possible. I've watched tons of YouTube, listened to casting directors, and most of all, just learned by trial and error. So first, let's talk about what I'm actually using to shoot: my lights, my tripod, my backdrop, all that kind of stuff. And keep in mind, I do run a photo video business, so I already had all this stuff. And I have a YouTube channel. I use the same tripod that I use on my real estate photo and video interview shoots. It's a Manfrotto tripod with a ball head. You can ultimately use any tripod that does well for you. I like to have the ball head because it's like easy to maneuver around, and you can twist it and change the angle. And it just helps for like creating an aesthetic shot. The camera I use, which is also the one I'm shooting on right now, it's the A7S III, the Sony A7S III. You do not have to go out and buy this very expensive camera. You can just use like a Sony A6000 or any of I think Canon and Nikon both just dropped relatively good vlog cameras. You can even use your phone. I personally recommend having a camera in case you want to do any other type of content. You can kind of start to get into it yourself. But if all you got your phone, that works. I use this Falcon Eyes light. I really love it. I'll link all the stuff in the description, but I use this also right now for my YouTube videos, and I use it for interviews and things like that. It's not as expensive as some of these lights that YouTubers and videographers use, but it's very bright. You can change the brightness on this little knob, and I just feel like it makes me look good, and it's not too harsh. It's better than a ring light. So if you can afford to get it, I think it's a couple $100. I recommend getting it. I use the Rode Video Micro Plus on top of the camera. Just make sure it's charged, because if it's not, it will record no sound, and you will be very pissed when you get done and you go to edit the self-tape, and guess what? You didn't record sound. That happened the other day, and I was upset. This microphone works really well. It's a directional microphone, so when you're right in front of it, it records the audio very well. It does get some background noise, but I'm going to show you how in the editing process you can cut all that out. And I know some people have a backdrop and all these things. Sometimes I will use this green wall behind me, but as you can see, there's a lot of stuff there, and there's not a lot of space to have like a plain background like they would typically like. So what I've been doing is just using my curtains. I had gray curtains, and then we just got these like turquoise color curtains, so it's just a plain color. There's not a lot going on. I think it really helps, and I don't have to like set up this backdrop, and it makes it quick and easy. That is my setup. And the one thing I also say about a camera is I think it's really important to have a camera where you can see yourself flipped around. There's a lot of times where I'm setting up the shot myself, so I want to be able to see how I look before I get a reader involved, whether it's another actor or someone on the phone, etc. Or even just if I'm talking directly to the camera, it's just helpful to be able to turn that screen around. And there's tons of cheaper cameras where you can do that. Some quick notes just about self-tapes in general. What's recommended, because you don't need all the high quality equipment, etc. Here are the basics. It just needs to be a relatively high quality camera, not super dark, not super fuzzy. For the tripod, just make sure it's sturdy enough to where it's not going to be jiggling around and you could easily, destroy your camera. I do recommend investing in a good tripod in general. Lighting might be the most important part. Make sure that you are well lit and not too dark. I don't really think you need like a 2 or 3 point lighting system. You just need a good light. I would set it off kind of to the side where the light's coming in on one side. If it's a little darker on one side, I think that's okay. Don't make it too dramatic, because they want to see your face, they want to see your eyes. Definitely, if you're going to invest in anything, I think I would go with a light. For the background, they just don't want it to be super busy and distracting. If your cat's walking around, one time I had a fly that was in the background and it was distracting me. If there's a ton of stuff to look at, you don't want that. You want something neutral where they can just focus on you. You're obviously going to need a computer or a laptop or something. I guess you could also edit on your phone, but I edit on my computer, my laptop. You probably already have a good laptop, so it's no point in really discussing, but a decent laptop to where you can edit things is probably needed, unless you're going to do it on your phone, and got to do what you got to do. At some point, you will probably need a video editing software. You could just use what comes with your computer, whether it's like iMovie or something like that. Final Cut Pro, you could pay for that. I currently use DaVinci Resolve, which I really like, and in a second I'll show you how I edit them in DaVinci Resolve. Actually, I'm going to make a whole nother video about how I edit my self-tapes. It's not a crazy process, but I'll show you how I do it in DaVinci Resolve. You could also get like Adobe Premiere Pro, something like that. I recommend having something because as you get more and more auditions, you want to be ready to, you know, spit them out quick. Premiere Rush, I think, is a free option that Adobe offers, something to check out. Next, you kind of want to think about your room acoustics. You can fix a lot of that in the audio editing, like if you use something like DaVinci Resolve or Adobe Premiere, but like you don't want it to seem like you're in a bathroom or something because that is distracting. And of course, you will usually have to have some sort of reader or something. I have done auditions without a reader, and I use this app called Cold Read, which is very interesting. I think I'm going to make a separate video on that. If you're interested in that, let me know. Those are for the times where I can't have a reader, but I find it seemingly, or at the current time, it seems very inconvenient to ask people to do auditions because my schedule is so busy and because a lot of these are due pretty quick. So it's a lot more convenient to have someone who lives with you help you with it. But that's also a kind of burden you're putting on them. So I do recommend having a couple people where you help them out, they help you out as far as a reader goes. And then worst case scenario, if you got to use something like Cold Read, you can do that too. Don't have any super loud distracting noises, whether it's a pet or the ambulance driving by or beeping horns. Try to have as least distracting audio as possible. If you live in a city like Los Angeles, I understand that it's kind of difficult. Hopefully when you're editing the audio, you can edit some of that out. Like I said, after watching tons of casting director videos and doing research online, if you just have the basics covered, it's just about the acting. They want you to do a good job. And that requires practicing, doing your best, giving it your best shot, and putting your own spin on it. Having a bunch of lights or fancy cameras or making a short film doesn't really help your chances, based on what I've researched. That's it for today. That is my self-tape setup. I hope it helps. If you have any other questions in the acting world, let me know. I might not know the answer, but I might know the answer. And I do have some more acting tips on the way because that's part of my journey. That's what I'm in right now, so I'm sharing it with you. My name is Cole. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I'll catch you next time. Peace. Hey, yeah? So what you're saying is we're definitely better than the 999 League. Yep. And a little bit taller too. Yo, isn't this our next door leader, James? Come to smash the scene? Hey! What just happened? The 1 million troops I trained are all gone! That was me. My Greek civilization has invincible Spartan warriors and the best weapons. I don't even have to worry about this. But my combat power is obviously higher than yours. How is this possible? Yeah. Back with a vengeance. No cap, homie, that's what revenge is. I'm a cool cat, but I'm stuck in a race with a motherfucking rat in a pension. Fucking at or a mention. Me and Fat Rat, you be back in the kitchen. Young Soda, Master Splinter, mathematicians back in position. When the journey ends.